What is up, guys? We are at Alvin today to fix the Jeep. So what we're doing today on the Jeep, so previously you guys saw that I pushed the gearbox and the empty block towards the inside to the firewall. So today we have a problem of, if you see here, you can see that the floor of the Jeep is folded. You can see there. So the problem is we cannot fit the engine seated properly. So what we have to do, we have to straighten the floor of the Jeep, the folded one, this section. We have to straighten it, or maybe we can cut it directly, because on the engine bay, the empty block and the gearbox is already sitting quite okay, I guess, but we have to push it more inside. So if you see from the bottom, the bottom part of the Jeep floor, you can see over here, see, this is where the input shaft or the gear of the long shaft goes in. We cannot push it more because this folded area, you can see from the previous damage, is actually blocking the gearbox to actually sit properly. So basically we have to knock this upwards from the bottom with hammer and fire maybe, and then we cut it off with a grinder. So first of all, we gotta push in the gearbox out first so that we can fold it. So let's do that. Ding, 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 ding. Yes, perfect cut. Yo. More space. Nice. Grinded already, so you can see over here that this section of it's not the cleanest thing, but yeah, I left this one here so that the body shop can actually weld this back to that area. They don't have to do more stuff. Then so this one we got a bit of extra space now, so this one will go to the back even more, and the engine at the firewall is gonna be, the block at the firewall is gonna be closer. This one I had no choice to cut it that way, but yeah, it's gonna be a bit more tidying up to do, but for now we just leave it that way so that we can push the gearbox and the block at the engine bay more, and we can set up properly the bracket position, we can mark the position properly. And I don't want to cut it too much because you know what they say, cutting too little is better than cutting too much. Looks cleaner if you cut less. Yes! Yeah.
Tiga belas na cukup mai tu cun-cun untuk mounting lagi
Yeah.
Contoh nak mounting ya kat takat panjai nak. Tu lagi nak kira tu 6 lah.
Yeah.
Bagi 2 lah.
So Alvin marked the metal plate for the engine bracket. You can see over here. Yeah. So how this thing is supposed to be like a template for this bracket, both sides, left and right. So then gotta cut it first into one piece. Then after that, then we can actually use that bracket to make the holes on it and see which kind of position we want to have. So let's cut that out.
The next day.
I was cutting the metal plate the other day and the plate fell on my feet. Hurt so bad. I mean, it didn't really hurt, but I was bleeding a lot, so end up I didn't cut the second plate. There's the second plate. So we're gonna continue cutting the second plate. This is the plate that's gonna be locked to the block. So let's cut that plate. And that, kids, is how you cut a metal plate. I got scared this time, so I actually wore shoes. These shoes I've not worn for a very long time. Last time I actually wore these shoes was actually for Sepang race, so this time is to cut this. Safety! Second plate done. Very hot. Gonna let it cool down. And where's the other plate? There's actually another plate that I cut the other day. This is the other plate, so we're gonna tidy up a bit on the edges, because I think Alvin tidy up these edges. Actually, and one side of the bracket is actually pretty interesting. Alvin has welded one side of the bracket. Look at that. He welded it already. Oh my god, look at it. And he tidied it up. This side too. and with the right angle triangle, very nice, so cool. So basically this was from what we have measured in the engine bay. After measuring on the engine bay, the new bracket on the stuck on the body, the chassis, no, it's on the body, on the bone structure. We have come up with this kind of measurement. Actually there's this part actually that has not been cut, which we haven't measured yet. So let me show you guys how it looks like being mocked on the engine bay. So basically this is the old bracket, so it mounts like this in the engine bay. Then the two nut will lock on it. So the problem with this bracket is being this area is actually too high. So what we want to do is since we want to mount the engine lower, so this part has to be a lot lower. So the difference is, so this is the new bracket, so this part has to be folded up. So basically rough mock of it is basically like that. I mean, look at that, look at how low the bracket actually locked compared to the original bracket. The original bracket is very, very high, like that. So yeah, to comparison, we basically measured this height and this length, and again this height also, of roughly how much we want the bracket to be on how much lower we want the bracket to be. So that's basically what we are aiming for. And then the two metal plate is actually for, wait, so this is the bracket to the block. So it kind of look like this. See how it's being locked to the block is like that. So basically this bracket is actually too low for us. So this is the bracket to the block. So we want to make the bracket lower. So the metal plate that we have, this one is actually, or this part, like that. It locks there, make the holes and everything. Then after that, this bracket will actually sit on this bracket. Yeah, so that is so far the idea of how this thing is supposed to be made. But right now we have to do a bit of measurement on the block and everything. Hopefully we can get it done soon, and the longer structure, you guys will get it soon once you guys see all the metal plate being cut and like welded to all these plates. So far, let's tidy up this bracket. Beautification process. Just gotta touch the edges with the grinder. So basically this bracket is on, from your view just now, it was on the right side of the engine bay. And so what we need to do is another left side of the engine bay. No, it will be small. So we have done the brackets. Can see over here, there's one of the bracket, the other one I didn't knock properly, but yeah, we're gonna continue that later on. And the brackets going to the block has been done also, like this. Then we can drill holes later on. Gonna finish up with the bracket sooner or later, but for now, hopefully the bracket's gonna be done soon so that we can mount the engine in and made it sit properly. That is the update on Jeepra. So you guys know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.